We are going to go ahead and get started with our ParentSquare teacher training for today. It is going to be on communicating with parents and just some best practices. This is new for everybody and new for our district. So I kind of wanted just to offer some training and go through a very detailed training on how to do posts, how to do our direct messages. We're going to talk about setting up groups today. And then we're also going to talk about what we call message fatigue and just kind of some things to be considerate of when we're posting and communicating with our parents and our staff. And we also are going to get in a test group today. So you'll actually be able to practice in a group live with the people in the room. So that hopefully will be beneficial. Also, for the most part, if you are a classroom teacher with a normal class load, I do have some other special teachers and things like that in here, then you probably also already have a homeroom active to be able to view your kids and your students. And you may have already sent some stuff out too. So hopefully we'll all get some stuff out of this today. And we're going to just go ahead and get started. I think everybody's already logged in. So just kind of our overview, I'm going to do a brief overview of how to navigate the website and make sure that you're aware where to change your notification settings, what your language preferences are, set your office hours, and all of those good things. Then we'll jump into communication with our post and direct messages. We'll talk about that message fatigue like I mentioned earlier, and then I will show you where you can find some more resources in case you are just really a go-getter and you like to learn on your own and things like that. So ParentSquare is our new district communication tool. It has been adopted by over 40% of the districts in the country. It has replaced Remind as our primary communications tool, and there are tons of districts in Alabama that are using it. So we have really good reviews, a really solid support team in place for this. So what is great about ParentSquare is that it is everything into one. I have had a parent show me 6 different apps that they had used between multiple schools to communicate with their teachers about their kids. And that is just a little too much to keep up with. So ParentSquare is a one-stop shop for all of us. They're going to be able to get all the information they need for all of their students. It also has replaced our previous website browser. And so we're using Smart Sites in conjunction with Parent Sites, and it's all fed from the same place and super easy for me to manage everything through one website. One of the biggest selling features, and I have several teachers from the Jimson area today, is that everything inside ParentSquare is translated to a parent's preferred language. So they can set their preferred language, and all of the things that we enter into ParentSquare is going to be translated into that preferred language that they have set. So I'm really, really excited about this change, and I'm hoping that our parental involvement just absolutely soars through the roof, because for the first time, we're going to be able to instantly communicate with some of those families where we may not have been able to before. Families will be able to communicate two-way through direct messages. This is also safe and secure for our teachers. It's going to protect us not only legally, but is also COPA compliant, which is our Child Online Protection and Privacy Act, and also FERPA compliant as far as regarding protecting our child's information. And then we also have multiple ways that we're going to communicate: text, email, and application. We do not have the voice feature in our district. That's an additional cost that we didn't pursue this year. But if you were kind of researching some things online, you may see voice as being an option. So the first thing we're going to look at is for us really is setting our own notification settings. This is just kind of an example that I got from the ParentSquare website, where it has what the text notifications look like, the email notifications, and inside the web browser. You probably or should have received a text at some point by now. And so all of ours say CCBOE because that's our district abbreviation. Once your schools start sending out text messages, they'll have your 3-letter school abbreviation, CES, CIS, JHS, those kind of things. So parents will know whether it is a district text or a school text. That will be differentiated as well. This is kind of the screen. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the website and log into my account so that we can take a look at your notifications and preferences too. So we're just going to go to ParentSquare.com. We're going to sign in with our Google account. And one of our brand new features is the update that happened last Friday. I will admit I had a brown bag moment when all of my accounts went away for a minute, but they're all back now. So when you go to sign in now, since our accounts are all unmerged and separate, you're going to be able to pick which role that you want to sign in as. Once you sign in as every role, then you can toggle back and forth. So I do have children in the school district for the first time this year. And then I also have my role as the district administrator. So that's just the one I'm going to use today for our training purposes. But for your own knowledge, if you also have a parent or you are a parent in the school district, you'll sign in under your teacher role. and then you will go to this and you'll add another account and sign back in as your parent role. Then you'll be able to go back and forth between your school and your child's school. And if you and your child are at the same school, then that's super fun because they're still separate, but at the same school. So this is kind of what our home screen looks like. Yours may be a little bit different. You may see more of a screen that looks like this, where you see more posts and things like that. So first, we're just going to go look at those notification settings. So in the top corner, you're going to click your name. And you do have the ability to plug your own picture in there, so you can put a cute little photo on there so your parents can see what your face looks like before the first day of school. And we're going to go to Manage Account. All of our information for us is fed from PowerSchool, so that is going to be the information that's in there. If you ever change your phone number or you notice that it's wrong or something like that, then you'll need to contact either me or your principal or counselor. Front office secretary can change that information for you. So if you do make an update on your phone number, please make sure they know so that we can make sure that you're still getting the correct information. That is not going to be able to be changed on your side. Over on your left, you're going to see notification settings. So we're going to go there. And you are probably going to have at least 2 kind of bars right here. You're probably going to have the school district and then probably have your own homeschool. I don't have a homeschool. The district is my home. So here is where we're going to set our preferences on how we want to be notified. And this is whenever Mr. Clements, not necessarily, I'm sorry, I apologize for this. Not when Mr. Clements does, school is dismissed, because that's going to be an urgent alert, which you do not have the ability to turn off. I don't either, and I'm the district administrator. So that is going to go out to everybody no matter what. We're also going to do a test alert on Friday on ParentSquare. It's going to be, I think, around 10 in the morning, and we're going to do a call out. And everybody then should receive a phone call, a text, an email, and an app notification. So it's going to sound like an Amber Alert's going off in the building here for sure. But that's just going to be kind of our first test and make sure that everybody's getting the information and that last big push before school comes back in to get all of our parents in the system with their accurate information. So now for the things that we control. This is whenever your administrators are sending out information to your staff groups at your school, or even as a parent, how you're receiving information about your child. So we have the choice between email, text, and app. I personally have my emails off. I get a ton of emails every day, and I just preferred not to get an email. You do have the choice of instantly. So as soon as someone posts something, you're going to get an email. The digest option is a default option with ParentSquare. So what digest is it compiles all of the information that was sent during a day, and it is sent at one time to you, usually after hours. So let's just say, for example, we have a student at Clayton Elementary, Clayton Middle, and Clayton Chilton County High School. With those 3 schools, there may be a lot of information that's posted throughout the day from those 3 schools. So as a parent, if I don't want constantly to be checking my phone throughout the day, I may choose to get that as a digest. So sometime between 5 and 6 p.m., I'm going to get an email and a text that's going to tell me everything that was posted that day, as long as it wasn't urgent. This can be overridden, and I'm going to show y'all how to do that as classroom teachers. If your stuff is super duper important, that you can override that and it will go instantly. Same for text messages. I do have mine turned off. Since I am the district administrator, usually I'm going to be the one sending out the information. So I chose to turn my text off. You may want to leave yours instant. One situation I can think of is if an administrator, if your school has to go into lockdown suddenly, they may send out something in ParentSquare. More than likely, that's going to go out as an alert. But if it's a tense situation, they may just go to the first thing that feels familiar with them. So I would leave my text on instant. So in those circumstances, you're going to be instantly notified. And then I did leave my app notifications. That's going to be when you have on an iPhone, the little red 1 or dot next to your app that's going to show you have a notification. So you want to make sure you get that set so you're getting your information the way that you want to receive it. The next thing I'm going to highlight for us is our language settings. So one of the biggest selling points for ParentSquare is the translation ability. So here our parents can go in, they can choose their preferred language to receive information. So if that is Spanish or Japanese or German, whatever it may be, all of the information that our teachers are entering into ParentSquare is going to be translated to that language, and they're going to receive it in that language. That includes our phone calls, their emails, their text, all of those things, which I think is a fantastic feature. So in all of our new families that are coming in and working with our translator here at the Board of Education, She is helping them get this app downloaded and get their languages set. So we're going to be able to reach those families immediately as well. The other really good thing that I wanted to showcase for all of us in the room too is the ability to set office hours. So we do want to protect our at-home time. And we know that sometimes parents may message us at some crazy hours. I had someone this morning tell me the craziest she ever had was 3 a.m. I know we all can't sleep sometimes, but please don't send me a message at 3 a.m. So if you want to make sure that you kind of have your home time as home time, then you can go under office hours and enable your office hours and set your times that you're going to be available. Now, parents are still going to be able to send you a message during this time, but it's not going to notify you you've gotten a message. So if you do have your text alert set, whenever somebody sends something to you, you're just not going to get a text until your office hours the next day. And it will tell the parent, Miss Maddox is currently her office hours are set. This is outside her office hours. She will receive this message whenever her office hours resume. So the parent is going to know it's not going to be instant as well. Now, then they may turn around and email you too, which we can't set that for that. But at least in ParentSquare, it's going to tell them, hey, we're being respectful of their time at home. They're not at the school right now because we don't sleep there, even though it feels like it right now in back to school season. But that you can set this, and then parents are going to be notified of that as well. Okay, so I kind of jumped to page 2 on our handout for language and office hours. I do want to go back to the contact information and make sure that you understand too how this information is sent into the system. So for all of our students, their parents are fed from the custody checkmark in PowerSchool. So our administrators, our counselors have the ability to check custody for a student. So this information cannot be changed in ParentSquare. Parents can, however, request and that there be a change made. I have been training all summer with the front office personnel, secretaries, and they are actually going to receive a report every day that will tell them if contact information has been requested to be updated in ParentSquare. They're going to be able to look at it, verify that those people are correct, and then make the changes in PowerSchool. It syncs overnight, and everything is great there the next morning. There are typos on emails. There are missed phone numbers and, numbers and phone numbers. It's just little stuff sometimes, but your front office secretaries are the ones handling that. So if a parent, addresses you, hey, my email is wrong, you'll just need to direct them to the front office to take care of that change. And then they can, as I said before, they cannot change it in ParentSquare. Also, this is for our custodial parents only. So this is just going to be for those that do have full custody. I know we have some family situations where things are split, but we've had conversations with your administrators or counselors or front office staff. They know how we're going to handle those things. So if somebody does ask you, or not that they would ever complain about something, but if they do complain about something, I would just direct them to talk to your administrator because they're going to be able to handle that situation for you. Here at the central office, I am not handling any of those changes because I don't know those families. Your front office secretaries are really the gatekeepers for that. They know who those people are that we have to watch out for and make sure that, again, we're protecting these child's or all the information that's in ParentSquare or in PowerSchool of the child too. So we all good with those settings? That's kind of the boring stuff. So now we can get to the fun stuff, right? Okay. I am going to jump back over to the slide deck really quickly just to kind of go over. I have some good pictures on their end, and then we'll get into some practice. So I was just on the website. I probably should have done this before just to kind of show you the main views. The center part is going to kind of be your main news feed, especially on your phone. This is very similar to social media applications. So we're hoping a lot of our parents are familiar with scrolling because we know that they're posting on the Facebook all the time. So that they'll be familiar with the scrolling, that newer information's at the top, everything's at the bottom, older information at the bottom. Our navigation bar is going to be over on the left, and then over here on the right, this drop down should be where you see classes now. So right now, only homerooms are marked as active. We manually did that on Monday, and then beginning the first day of school, you should see all of your subject areas. Especially if you're secondary, you're going to have a class for each course that you teach. If you are elementary and you're kind of more self-contained, you're just going to keep one homeroom class. I just figured that we wouldn't need 5 different classes to message the same group of parents over and over again. We do have some elementary schools and intermediate schools that are more departmentalized, and I'm working with those counselors and administrators to make sure we know which classes we need to activate and things like that. But we hope that everybody has all the people that they need to message for that. So right now, you may only have one. And then again, on August 8th, whenever school opens up, it's automatically set for all of that to go live. Just like we did in Remind, just like we do on Google Classroom, the same type setup for that, if you're familiar with those things. We went over our account settings. Okay, we are going to come back to test group in just a minute. So I'm going to go over this, and then we're going to try to get in the test group so we can practice a little bit. We really have two main forms of communication for ParentSquare. We're going to be able to post, and we're going to be able to do direct messages. So post, we're going to think about like this is Facebook post. This is for all the world to see. And this is going to be general information. Things like our class had a great first day. Here's a cute class picture I took on the playground. Or this week we are working on blending these sounds. Or next week we're having a science night at school. Just general information to go out to everybody. And that too, we have the ability to either allow commenting, or by default it's going to be turned off. I'm going to show you how to fix that. Then we also have the ability to direct message. So this is our text messaging feature. Again, this is so we don't have to give parents our personal phone number because we don't want to do that. But this is going to be things that are more specific to either a small group of people, be it parents or kids, or you just need to talk with a parent about an issue. I did have someone ask earlier, like, do you think this will cut down the number of emails we have to do? I hope that parents are very receptive to this, because especially on your phone, it is exactly like sending a text message. So we know they can do that pretty well. They may not check email all the time. So I'm hoping this will allow another avenue of communication between our parents as well. And we do have the ability to kind of set up like small groups with our direct messages. So for example, if you have like a couple of moms in your room and they're going to be the main ones that come in and like volunteer or something, you can make a small group with those parents and communicate with them back and forth. I probably would not recommend doing a whole class group message, because that's going to be like the worst group text you've ever had on your phone. So probably wouldn't recommend that. But what I would like to do at this time is I would like for us to kind of join this test group. So if you have your phone, you can scan the QR code. I know we're mostly on a device. So if you just type in this website right here, then it should take you to our test group. I'm going to kind of move out of the way for a second. So with our test group, that means it's only going to be the people in the room. So we can post and you can kind of have a chance to experiment with what you were doing without having to send out everything to your whole class at this point. So we'll just take our time, not in any hurry. And in theory, I would think even if you scan it and join your phone, then if you refresh your browser on your computer, it should pop up on there as well. It's just called Test Group for training. I had a random person join it last night too, I think after I set it up. Like, oh, well, you're not going to be here today to play, but if you want to be in it, that's fine. I'm probably going to delete it once this training is over as well. So if you're watching the recording, sorry, you're probably not going to be able to get into the test group. Mm-hmm. Probably just the state. I can fix it in a minute too. That I can put a shortcut on there. Okay, I'm going to jot the ending of this down in case I need to pass this around to anyone, but then I'm going to go ahead and go over. Oop, that's a cue. ParentSquare comes up with some crazy codes. If y'all remember those verification codes too, they're not super easy to remember. Okay, I'm going to jump over to ParentSquare. So I'm back on my home page. I'm going to show you how to get to your groups if you're not already there. So on our navigation bar over on the left side, we're going to go all the way down to participate, and then groups is listed under participate. You kind of have to hover over participate and then go to groups. We should be able to click on that. Please don't be scared when you see my screen, because I have about 50 bajillion groups. See, told you. Those are all the athletic groups that I set up. So the one that we should be looking at is ParentSquare Test Group, July 29th, 2025. So I am first going to kind of Let's see what I want to do first. Okay. I'm just going to leave it right here. I'm going to go and order my agenda like I said. So when we are thinking about communicating, yeah, nothing drops down. Did you join the group? You did? Refresh your screen and see what happened. Let's see. I'm going to make sure you're in the directory too. Yes, that is true. So if you were already on the group page, yes, it does not populate. You're right. It's not super easy to navigate between groups. Absolutely. Good job, Marissa. So if you are on the home page, what I said about the navigation, the participate, and then the groups works. If you entered in that code and you went ahead and you were sitting in this group waiting on me to come join it, and you could see this ParentSquare test group, then nothing is going to come up under participate because you're already in your group. Just repeating that. So it says this group will be deleted after training. Yes, because there's no telling what's about to probably go in here. Okay, so there's lots of different situations we're going to communicate with our parents this year. This is the only way we're going to communicate with our parents. So it's really important that I want to also make sure today that we walk away with not only like how to do this stuff, but I want you to also think about the information that you're posting. So before we even start, we need to think about like, what are we posting? Who are the people that need to get this? When does this need to be sent out? And does this require a response from my parents? So am I posting information that I just want them to read and understand? Or am I wanting to ask them a question and am I wanting to get a response from them? Because that is also going to determine the communication method that we choose. So the first thing we're going to talk about is doing a post. So once we are in a group, and for you guys, it will be in your class, you will do a new post, and you can follow along these steps with me. Pause. Let me check one thing really quick because I think I need to probably enable y'all to post in the group. Oh, yeah, you probably don't have the post button. Allow group members to post. Hey, look, even before we had to troubleshoot, I remembered. I'm not going to hide the directory either. We can all see everybody that's in here. Save. I'm also going to go back through these steps in just a minute when we get to groups too. Okay, now if you refresh your page, you should have the post button. Troubleshooting on the fly. Okay. Better. Yes, perfect. Okay, so we're going to go to new post. And because I'm already in my group, my to bar is already filled right here. So yours may be the same. But this is also where once you are kind of in our groove and you've got your classes, you'll be able to check that drop-down group and you will, or the drop-down bar, and you will be able to see the schools, the classes. Again, I have a ton because I'm also in the district. So you will be able to pick kind of the group that you're wanting this to go to. One important thing that I do want to know, because I've kind of got a mixed room too, is that we have the ability to decide who is going to see this post. If you are an administrator or maybe a specialist teacher at your school, or you're in charge of a certain club or athletic group or something, you may want to post something just out to your staff for them to be able to see. So you may want to sit under who should see this. You may just want to unclick parents and choose to put in staff. If you're wanting it just to go to your parents, then you would choose parents, which in this room, and you can see this number right here is changing. I've only got 3 listed in here. So there's only 3 of us who also have the parent account registered. Maybe, I don't know how accurate that is. If you have 7 through 12 as your kind of audience, you can also choose to send this to your students. So students that are in 7th through 12th grade can download ParentSquare. They verify with their Chilton BOE email address. They do have the option to add their cell phone number. Cell phone numbers are not stored anywhere in PowerSchool for students. Thank goodness, because that would change all the time too. So students can also do this as well. I would highly encourage this for students who especially participate in athletics, so that they are getting the information from their coaches too. Especially once they're like juniors and seniors, they can be responsible for their information too. And even younger, that's teaching them responsibility. Like, you need to know when your practices are and when you're supposed to be there and what time and things like that. And then guest is a feature of the group that I can kind of talk about in a minute. That's more geared towards my athletic groups. But I am going to go back and pick staff because that encompasses everybody in this room. Then we have a subject line. So I'm just going to do test post I'm going to put my initials behind it so I know that it's mine. If you want to do the same thing and just do exactly what I do, that is great. I love being an influencer. And then from here, we can now come down and we can just type in our description. So we've got a lovely text box right here. We can do our basic kind of formatting. We can do bold, italicized, underline. We can change the size of our text. So I'm just going to do thank you for coming to ParentSquare training today. So if I wanted to bold and underline ParentSquare, I can do that. I don't believe we can change our font. I think this is pretty much just the way it is. If you copy and paste some things, sometimes they come in. You can center it if you want to. We can add a little emoji if we want to. Okay, the next one is what we call the mountain media button. If you've never heard it called that, it has mountains in it. It's our media button where we put pictures in. Mountain media. It's also like on your iPhone and stuff like that too. And in Google. Or insert image. So within this post, you can embed images and things like that. Now I'll show you in just a minute about the translation feature. So I do have something downloaded on here. I'm just going to throw my picture in for that. Okay, very important. So ParentSquare also ensures that we are being ADA compliant, meaning that if we have a parent who has a visual impairment, they are using a screen reading software on their devices, they will not necessarily be able to see these pictures, but a screen reading software is going to go through and capture what that picture is by something called the alt text. So this is a requirement. Like you cannot post this picture. If I did not put in alt text, ParentSquare would say, oh, there's something wrong. We cannot post. It's because we're missing the alt text. Since it's required, they also gave us this lovely feature of generate an AI suggestion. So I don't even have to come up with my own caption. It's going to do it for me. We'll see if it's the same as it was last time. So I just clicked generate AI suggestion. You may not have a picture to put in right now. So it has said that, I'm going to scroll back, maybe a woman with a warm smile. Look, my smile's warm today. On that day, warm smile. Poses for a portrait against a blue backdrop. Much more detail than I would have put in because I would have put woman headshot, probably. But, that could be lots of different things. Did that say? What if I click save? Let's go back. I did not click save, so I'm going to do it one more time and click save. So now I would be able to post. You also can center your picture. You can move it around, do a little bit. You can hyperlink it and things like that. Also in our post, you can embed a video. So if you have a URL to YouTube, you can click insert video and you can embed it right there. We also can hyperlink our text. So let's say that I want to hyperlink ParentSquare. I probably would copy and paste this specifically out of my browser, but I should be able to be pretty decent with just ParentSquare. But if you wanted to link to a specific website that you had, you can just copy and paste that. I'd probably choose open in a new tab. That's just a preference of mine, that if I am clicking on a link for it to open up in a new something so I can come back to this if I want to. So insert, and now my audience will be able to click on that link and be able to get to that website. And then there's a couple of other rich formatting text options. If you're super techie, you can also embed some HTML code in here as well. Sometimes certain websites, Smore being one of them, for example, it does it for me. I can click a button and it presents it and I can copy it and paste it and then it's just there. I don't code it for sure. So you can build everything that you want right here inside ParentSquare. It does the, grammar check, spelling check, stuff like that for you. If you're one of those people that you want to type it all out in a doc first and do all that, then you can copy it in here and that is totally fine. So one thing I had mentioned earlier was about the translation. So down here at the bottom, we can come down here and do edit translation, and it is going to then show you a demo of what it is translated. So I can click on these different languages. I don't speak Vietnamese, but it looks really cool. No idea what that says, but I'm going to be able to test and see what that's going to look like for our families. So, and just a reminder too, I don't have any text on this picture, but if I had words on this picture, that's a JPEG file. So everything with that is kind of sealed up. So if we made something in Canva, for example, a cute little schedule, newsletter, things like that, we typed on it, it's precious. The words on that picture are not going to translate. So you may want to be considerate of that. Even if you are like dead set on you've got to use it, maybe you just want to go back on Canva and copy and paste some of the more detailed information and put it underneath maybe, so that part will translate. But it's only going to be text that we enter in that translates. Yes, ma'am.
But it will not translate like that.
Correct. Yes. And then if you attach like a file, like a PDF or a document or something like that, that will not be translated either. So it's only going to be words that you physically type in. That's a good way to remember it. That's going to be translated for that. So pretty cool. We can test that out. Now we've built our post. So we're ready to post. So we've got a couple of things I want us to look at now over here on the right side. So remember when we set our notification options that we could do the digest. So for our parents. So you do have the option to override that if you just have to. If it's something like pretty urgent, like I need a response back by 3 p.m. today or things like that, you can override that parent setting. For the most of the time, I probably would leave it at a preferred time, just so that we're kind of respecting what they have chosen to do as well. And then you can also do, if you're just posting like updates for your, you're putting your spelling words on there or something like that. If you want to, they don't have to get a notification at all. It can just go on your post page. If you know they're checking ParentSquare frequently, then they won't even get a notification. Just when they log back in and look at it, it will be there. So you can do any of those options. A couple of more options. See, ParentSquare just lets you just do whatever you want to, really. If, let's say, I didn't get a chance to finish this up at school today. I had to work on it at home last night when my kids went to bed. It was kind of late. Like, I don't want to send a post at 10 o'clock because I don't want them to know I'm working at 10 o'clock, number one. But, I want to be respectful of everyone's time if I want them to be respectful of mine. So what we can do is we can schedule the post. So if we know that we want it to go out at 9:30 the next day, then we can schedule it to go out and we don't have to remember to do that. Just to kind of let you in on a big secret if you didn't know it already, when I send the What the Tech newsletters every month, I am not sitting at my computer at 7:15 in the morning pressing send. It is scheduled days in advance and it goes out through Gmail through my scheduled email. So sometimes I'm not even having left my house by 7:15 in the morning. So you can also save a draft. Let's say you were typing something, you've got to leave for the day, you're going to finish up in the morning. It will save. I'm going to save this one and show you how to go back and find them, and then we'll post it. You can also preview it. So I do want y'all to also consider too that a lot of times our parents are going to be checking all this on what? Their phone. So you can preview and it's going to send you like what it is to your phone, and then you can see what they're going to see basically. Because it may look really, really pretty on this computer, but then once you get on the phone, you're like, I can't really read that, or I need to click on the picture because I need to make it bigger. Because there's lots of people, as soon as they open up their phone, the first thing they do is this to make things larger for them to see. So you just you can preview a couple when you first get started, so you kind of know what you're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and do save draft, and then we'll come back and post it. So now it's kind of kicks me back out to my homepage. So let's say it's the next day. I'm ready to go back and look at my post and continue working on it and get it ready to send. If you haven't guessed already, under post, there's a little drop down that says scheduled and draft post. So since I just saved my draft, this is where my test post is going to be. So I'm going to click on that. And here is my test post. I can hover over it and click on it again. And it takes me right back to the screen I was on yesterday. And I am ready I'm going to double check one more time and make sure that is to the correct group, especially with me having everybody in here. We don't want to send a picture of me to everybody in the district. That would be fantastic. But I'm going to go ahead and click post. It's going to ask you one more time and tell you what your numbers are. So this is a good little safeguard that you can kind of look and see if your numbers look way off. Like if you are wanting to send something out to your whole faculty and you only see like 5 people, maybe we don't have something checked. We need to go back and double check that. Or if you accidentally see like, oh my gosh, that's 700 people, that may be like every parent and staff member in your school. We need to go back and make sure we need to check. Not everybody has permission to do that, but administrators will. And then I can go ahead and click post now. So sorry, you're about to get a notification. Oh, look at there. It worked. All the sounds. And so now we have got a good little feed going on in here. Now, once we post, there is actually a good bit of valuable information that we can get from here. Number one is whenever we post, you can see that I do not have comments enabled, because for the most part, this is probably just information you're putting out there again for them to get and read and then understand. So if we decide that we want to enable the comments, I'm going to come over here and hover over this little gear icon and come down to comments. And now I can enable the comments and allow people the ability to be able to comment. We also can come to the little gear. So let's say that we send out a notification and say, we are having Kona ice at school on Friday. Okay, well, Friday comes and it's raining, or Thursday comes and it's going to rain all day on Friday. We're rescheduling Kona ice for Monday. Instead of you taking up valuable space on your feed with another post, come to your Kona ice post and we're going to do send update. And we're going to say Kona ice is rescheduled for Monday. It's completely not relevant to my post. And then I'm going to click submit. So now what that has done is, I'm going to refresh. Oh, send you another notification, first of all. Look at all of our stuff. But on top of my original post, I now have my update. So I like that because that's going to keep your feed a little bit more condensed. You're not going to make a whole separate post for that. Also, once we make our post, I am going to come down here and you see where we have that little eye right there. So this is going to tell me who got my post. So not that anybody would ever tell a story and say that they didn't get something from you, but we have a way to check. And that's great. So there's a good bit of data right here, but I'm going to drop down here to the bottom and put y'all stuff up here. So up here is where we're going to see their email status, their text status, and their app notifications. So we can see that right here we have emails that were delivered and the emails were open. So if this person said, oh, I didn't get an email from you. Oh, really? Well, it says that you opened that email. You know, those middle school, high school children sometimes. Coaches were like, oh, yeah, I love that. You can also see if they clicked on their text, like this person did. And then like right here next to my name, I have NA and NA. So that means that I did not get an email or text notification because that's what I chose to do. So that's the way I have my notification set up. But I did get my app notification. I haven't opened it yet though, because I'm teaching. That would be rude. Got to keep our cell phones up. So this gives you a good bit of information. If you have a parent that is consistently saying, I'm not getting anything from you, take a look at this. Okay. It's a good little safeguard. Okay. Any good for the group questions about that right now? Okay, well, let's play with a post for a minute. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to make a new post again, and I want to highlight some of these things that we have over here on the side. I'm going to try to go a little bit quicker through these because I do want to be respectful of your time, and I didn't realize how much time I spent talking about posts. But within ParentSquare, this is by far like one of my top 5 favorite things. So we all have times where we want to like ask for items. Like it is January and it is snotty nose season and I am out of Kleenex, I'm out of Germ-X, and I need some paper towels and probably some Lysol because we're coming up on April real quick and people are going to be real stinky. So over here, we've got several little things right here. So calendar entry RSVP. I do have on my slideshow with the big red X over this. However, I found out this morning that there is a teacher that used the calendar and it did not go to the entire school. So that is positive. We kind of had some calendar missteps with our athletic groups. So if you will, I would like a little bit more time to investigate that before we start throwing a ton of stuff on the calendar. But supposedly you can put events and stuff in for a class calendar and your parents can see that. So that would be great. The schools also have a calendar linked in Google, but I want to just make sure I investigate that and iron out the details. We also can attach photos and files. So that is pretty simple. If you didn't want to like embed them in the post, you can choose attach and you can upload them from your computer that way. And there'll be like an attachment on there. Has been really great for like cheer tryouts, dance teams, things like that. They've been posting routine videos, cheer videos, and things like that in there for the kids to have access to be able to watch. Even if you are teaching and you had a ton of kids out one day and it was a super important lesson, or it's something they didn't get, if you want to record yourself doing a math skill or whatever, then you could post that in there so the parents know exactly how you're teaching it. We do have the ability to do some forms. I'm going to come back and show you that one in a minute because I've got one made, but this is one of my favorite ones. So I'm going to do it first. So the ask for items. So it kind of drops me down here to the bottom. Oh, it has my upload files on there too. So when do we need these by? Well, gosh, I need them by the first day of school. So what do you want people to bring? Kleenex. And I need 4 boxes. I also want some paper towels, 2, and then I'll do some Germix, and we'll do 5 of those. Okay. If you wanted to add another day that they are coming on there, then you could do that as well. Like if you want another due date or things like that. But you just kind of put in your list of things right here. And then we come up here and I'm going to put need supplies. I want this to go to my, also just a little hint, if you do have a lot of groups and you know which one it is, I knew that was going to be test group. So I'm going to put that in there right there. So I have made my sign up list, need supplies. Sorry, we're about to get another notification. This one's more fun, I promise. And so now I have got a supply list built into my ParentSquare. And you, as my parent today, can come in here and sign up for supplies. Now, I also do want to show you, because I figured that you would want people probably to see what they're signing up for. So if you come over here to the little gear on your post for the items and signups, you can hide the names, but I would probably want, personally, I feel like it's fine if the names show up. Like you could also do this for like party signups, like cupcakes, snacks, chips, dip, Jell-O, fork, spoons, like all that kind of stuff. So you may want to, I would say leave the name. So like I may say, hey, like I'm going to go in with Maddie and do cupcakes, you know, because she signed up for them and I'm going to message Maddie and things like that. But on this one now, as people come in and put their names in right here, it will show the people that are signed up to bring those things. So I love that. I think that's a really handy tool, especially in elementary school. Like moving forward from this year, you could even put like supply list in here too, so they could kind of know or sign up for extra things. I don't know. Put your name in and try. So if I add someone, it just has the parents in right now. So it may be kid if it's 7 through 12, but not elementary. So you can also manually put someone in too. The other type of post that we could do, and this one would be super great for days that you need help, is to request volunteers. So for this, we could say again, by the 31st, if you need some moms to come in and make copies, and I want them to start at 9 and they can be finished at 10, probably need 2 people. They want to work together. But then I need someone to help with the lunch line, because we all know that working kindergarten lunch line is not a fun time the first few days. So that is going to start at 10:30, and lunch is going to take a long time. We're not going to be done till 12 p.m. And we need at least 6 people to do that. So then you can also add another task. You can choose another day that you want them to come in and sign up. So I'm going to do test group again, volunteers, and another notification. Here we go. This is the best way to learn, is by experimenting. And so now we have a volunteer sign up, like classroom party help, make copies, PTO, concession stand signups, ticket booth signups at middle school, work the basketball gate. I mean, all sorts of things for staff can be done in here too. And it's got a record for everybody to see. And it's all housed in the same communication tool that we're using all the time. So I love those things. The last one that we have on here under the post, I believe, is the share aspect. We're not going to do that because that's sharing to social media. And y'all actually may not even have access to that, because I think that's only the administrators of the school that have access to that. So I love those features of posting. That's just my personal favorite. Are there any things that I can go back and highlight on for posting before I move on to direct messages for that? I did include, I'm going to send a digital copy of our little handout we're using today, and there are 2 videos that go over all of those things again. And there's also one from the app point of view that I would probably recommend watching because it is a little bit different. I personally have learned better doing everything on the computer and then going over to the app, because the computer has everything a little bit more spread out and I can see everything a little bit better. Then I can kind of finagle and figure out where things are on the app. Okay. Let me see. I think I had the post, the add-ons. We did that stuff. So now we're going to go over to direct messages. So direct messages, this is essentially our text message component. Very simple. A great way, I think, that hopefully parents will be able to quickly communicate with their class parents. And like I said to you, you can set up those small groups. So on the app, it's really easy. At the very bottom, there's a little message icon, and it literally looks like your text message thread on any kind of phone. But on the computer, you can also do this. I'm going to click on messages, and we have an option to do a new message, and I'm just going to do a direct message. So let's say I've got my class list, but I have no idea like whose parent is who. I don't know who they are yet. I haven't learned their names, but I know that my student is Lily. So I'm just going to type in my student's name, and it's going to pull up her 2 guardians that she's got in there. So if I wanted to send mom a message, then I can just click on mom's name. If I did want to go back and include mom and dad, because we don't want to leave dads out, I can go back and choose him as well. And I can type out a direct message to them. This is going to be a little bit more personalized, and I will just use an example. My son's teacher sent out direct messages yesterday. I know that she copied and pasted the same message to all her kids, which is fine, because at the very end, she was saying that she was going to start labeling stuff, and she would love to know if our child went by a different name or if they knew anybody in school, if it was their first time at this school. So there were a couple of things that she wanted me to respond to her about so she would know how to better prepare for my child. So that would be a great example of the direct message use. Could she have posted back to school night stuff in the post? Absolutely. But she just kind of wanted to do something a little bit more personal to begin with. It opens up that avenue of communication. Now, teachers, you can message any staff member and any parent that's in your school. Parents can message any staff member, but they cannot message the principal, and they cannot message district administrators. So unfortunately, even though I know they'll just call the school or email them, but parents cannot just direct message a principal on there unless that school administrator opens up that avenue of communication first. So if your principal wants to send a direct message to a parent, once that's opened, the parent can communicate back and forth that way. So if your principal chooses to do that, then you can communicate through ParentSquare. And if you delete it, then it kind of like closes that avenue. So that's just their personal choice if they want to do that. Messages are pretty straightforward. You can't do as many things in a message. You can attach a file. You can also do a voice message. And then like this is too, you can do a little small group message. Your limit is 50 people. So if you've got 20 kids in your class, most kids have average of 2 custodial parents. That's going to end up being 40 people. If you're high school, that's going to end up being 60 people because it puts the kids and the parents in the group. So just keep that in mind. Again, I probably would not recommend doing a group conversation for your entire class.
Right.
Yes, it's just like a group text. Everybody would see everything that everybody wrote. Everybody can communicate. Everybody can respond. That would be like the most gigantic, nightmarish group text ever, probably. But everything can be housed in there. And like I said, if you have like little subgroups in your class, coaches may have wanted to group together. Like for football, I'm going to do all my offensive players in this group. I'm doing my defensive players. Once you have your group set up too, you can rename them as well. That's also a new feature that was not here in the spring that I'm really happy about too for that. Okay, I keep mentioning the word group. So I put us in a test group. I'm going to kind of go back and walk through the steps of a group. I've had lots of teachers ask this morning about, well, I'm the FCS sponsor and I would love to put my FCS kids in a group so I can send messages to them. Or clubs are going to be really popular for this application too. So that is super easy. So what we're going to do is now I went back to my home page and I'm going to scroll down to that participate. Ooh, and it is zooming in on me. Group. and I'm going to choose new group. So on I did not put it on here. I put it on a slide, I think. So we've got 3 options for groups. Really and truly, the only one that we're going to use is going to be the static group. That is where you can kind of control your roster, who you're putting in there, and you can make it where you're kind of controlling who is in there. The auto update is going to be kind of a conditional group. To be an example, I made faculty and staff groups that are auto update. It's anybody that pulls in that has a teacher or staff role, they automatically get put in that group for the schools. So I wouldn't think that would be something you'd want to do a whole lot of. And then the community group, like our mental health coordinator set up a community group, and this is open to anybody that can join, and even open to people who are outside the school. So even if they're not in ParentSquare, they could do a community group for that. So I'm going to just kind of quickly walk through a couple of steps with the group setup. We do have to name our group. Just want to test group. You can put a description if you want to. Category is going to stay under district, but yours would be school. So we've got a couple of options if it's going to be public, private, or confidential. I would probably leave it private. The public group, anybody who signs into ParentSquare is going to see that group and they can request to join it, which is fine if you're fine with that. Even if you do a private group, you can download a QR code that will let those people scan in. So like what I did for a lot of the sports groups, because a lot of the parents didn't have the app downloaded yet, I put all the kids in and then sent the QR code and the link to the coach and said, send this to your parents, because when they click on it, it's going to prompt them to log in and then they'll get to their group. So it was kind of just a good way to get them in the application. So you can do that. You can list owners and managers, and then I'm going to go to save and add people. This is where you can generate the link and QR code if you want to. And then I'm going to show you how easy it is to put all these people in here. So by selecting students. So once we put students in, I'm going to use this child as an example. So for this student, it's in 11th grade, it is going to pull in the student and both of his parents. So it's all attached. I don't have to add the student and then each parent individually. Everybody is in one. So then once I put that person in there, you can back out and go search for more people that are in your school. I will caution you, it is their legal name that's in PowerSchool. So if they go by Bubba, but that is not their name, then you cannot put in Bubba. You've got to look at their legal name in PowerSchool. So that can be a little confusing sometimes. And then if you want to put in staff members, that would be under the name or role. So if you wanted to come in here and find staff members, that would be under that category. And then, like I said, I allowed the guest members some for athletic groups, but I really don't want to do a whole lot of that because that just puts extra people in there. They don't have any permissions other than they can see things. But like I said, we're not doing those for classrooms. Yes, ma'am. It is. So you do have to be an active teacher. Thank you for bringing that up. So if you do not see the button to create a group, you do have to be an active teacher, and y'all don't have classes set up yet. So that is why. Absolutely, that is why. So you do have to be active. So that is one reason why over the summer I had to set up all the coach groups, because the coaches were not active teachers. So I did a little traveling roadshow and went to all 8 high schools and middle schools and set up all of their athletic groups for the upcoming sports season. So we have learned a lot about ParentSquare for that. And then you will save your group, and then you interact with the group the same way we just went through with the post and the direct messages and things like that. Mm-hmm. You just go back into your group. And so if we've already set up the group, but we did not do the QR code and the link, also, if you need to go back and add people, you just return back to your group. And then you go to manage. And it's going to take you to the first screen with the name first, and just scroll to the bottom and do save and add people. And then you can generate the link at the top on the second page. So you may not see it on the first page. You'll just have to go back to it. Okay. So the last thing that I did want to talk about, and this is kind of a good quick comparison to Also, when you may want to use a direct message versus a post. Just some good little guidelines for you to think of, like goes to the entire class, sending to individuals, you expect a response. Maybe you want to turn on the comments, some things like that. But I did want to talk about message fatigue. One thing that I want everybody to be mindful of too is that some of our parents have multiple students in the district. So even though you're thinking like, this is so important, I've got to get this information out. You know, if a parent has 4 kids, then they're getting all the information for 4 kids. So by definition, thank you, Google, message fatigue is known as like communication overload, and it can be like weariness, causing disengagement, by just people getting excessive amount of information. I mean, you may feel like this, especially right now. I told my husband yesterday, like, this is tax season, okay, for me. Like, back to school is tax season, so we are all busy. And those are just some kind of characteristics that the person can feel overwhelmed, like they're just so swamped with information. They may like back off. They may not be engaged with you. They may not be reaching back out. They may not be returning your messages, and leading to kind of decreased productivity. So I really want to encourage you to think about these things when you're thinking about posting, and be mindful of all the other things and all the other people that are, sending information, especially at our secondary level. Those kids may also be involved in athletic groups, and they're getting tons of update from coaches too. And if every class teacher is sending home 3 messages a day, that's just a lot for parents and kids to absorb. So I use some AI help. I will admit that, because it is a great tool. If you're not already using it, I highly encourage you to come up with kind of some things to be mindful of and some pointers. So quality over quantity, that whenever we're sending messages, that we are just trying to do just the immediate information that they've got to know. Use clear language. Don't try to overcomplicate it. A couple of things I read too. I know all of us are in education, but not all of our parents are. Like, try to stay away from words that they may not know what those words mean. We want to be really clear with our meanings. We want to kind of segment and personalize our messages, that if it is just for a certain group of people, that we're using those small group conversations. That if, I need to make a group post, but it really is only for 4 parents, we don't need to make a group post. Just put those 4 parents in a message and send them what they need to know. Also, with the segmentation, sometimes a message can be easier to read if you use bullet points and things like that. Instead of typing out a whole big paragraph, the information looks a little less overwhelming when we do that. Optimize frequency and timing. So y'all are going to laugh when I tell you this story, but I learned a very valuable lesson. So people who are veterans in here, I said it earlier. What time did I say I send out the tech emails? 7:15. What time do you have to clock in? 7:15. One day I forgot this past year, and I did not remember until almost lunchtime. And I sent it out at about 12 o'clock. Normally, I have about 1,100 views on my newsletter. The day I sent it out at 12 o'clock, I had like 350. So your time of day makes a huge difference in when you're sending your stuff. Also, I want you to be very conscious of, if you were sending things throughout your school day, I know it may be on your prep time. I know that you have a prep time. I can look in PowerSchool and see your prep time. But sometimes your parents don't always know that. And so be mindful of what the public perspective of that is too. If you're sending 4 messages throughout the day, and your parents are getting the messages at that time, are they thinking like, okay, well, are they on their prep, or what are they doing? And I know that you're doing what you're supposed to do, but just the perception sometimes, I want you to think very consciously about that. ParentSquare recommended like 6 p.m. That's a little late in my opinion. And I'm not saying that you need to like stay after school and wait till 4, but using that schedule feature would be very beneficial. A lot of our parents may not get off work till 5 o'clock. So they may not even be able to read any of that information you send until they're off work, especially if they have a high demand job. So just be kind of conscious of that. And I would make sure you use that schedule feature. Choosing the right way, if it should be the post versus the direct message. Make messages easy to consume, that we use like a clear subject line, and then using that preview button to see what it looks like on a cell phone would be super helpful. Offer preferences and opt-outs. That's already done for us, because the parents can set their own notification settings on how they want to be communicated. So check, that one's already done. And then monitor and adapt by looking at those notified data and seeing who is getting it, and also be open to feedback. This is new for all of us. Like, it's going to be a learning year throughout the entire year on how we handle different situations. So I know I'm very open to feedback. If things are set up a way that seem challenging, I am more than happy to listen to those concerns that you have. And if it is something we can fix and change, I am happy to do that. Some things can't be changed, but I also encourage you to be open to that feedback from your parents as well, and make sure that we're doing what is most beneficial for our students, because that's our key audience, that we're trying to make sure that we're educating them and doing the best things for them as well. So that is a very detailed and very quick rundown for posts. I am very thankful that you all spent time to come today, and I appreciate all of your feedback if you have any, and I will make sure I send out the resources for this with the recording video, the handout, and the form for PD credit submission when we're done.